Hello everyone and welcome to this short video of Affinity Photo where I'm going to show you how to create panorama using Affinity Photo. It's very easy, very simple, and this software is good. It's not perfect. I'll explain to you later, but let me show you how to do panorama in Affinity Photo first. So you go to the file and then you jump into new panorama and then you click add. Once you're there, you have to go select your photographs that you have taken and then select those photos, click open, and you have your photograph. Once you're done and you're sure about your photograph that you have chosen to stitch, you click stitch and wait for a little bit. It will show you something in this side. There you go. So that's like a bit of a thumbnail of what the future result. If you're happy about it, which difficult to say exactly because it's very tiny, I'll click OK anyway. Then you have to wait. And once you're waiting, it will show you exactly what it's doing. So right now it's rendering the panorama. Depends on your file size. It might take longer or shorter. My photos are like all JPEG. I converted from RAW, so it was pretty quick. And this is it. It's done actually. Now it's actually really nice and beautiful photograph. I'm going to see histogram, and my histogram says it's very nice, even though it looks low, a bit of underexposed, but it's very linear. It's no clipping on highlight, it's no clipping on the black side, it's nice and round. So your other option is to crop out the extra areas. So I'm gonna make it a bit of straight a little bit because I took the photo handheld, which is definitely not recommended, but I did it anyway because I was traveling light. And I crop the empty spaces as much as I can without losing too much detail. Once you check all the corners, corner left looks good, right looks good, then click enter. That's it. Panorama is done. We are good. Now we can just stop this video and then move on and try it on your own. But if you stick around, I'm going to show you something else. We have this option here. So what it does, sometimes stitch doesn't always work. Depends on your aperture. If you're using like a very narrow aperture, sometimes there are areas that you will see some hollows. You can click and then you can just brush on and it will try to fix those problems. In my case, I really got lucky, although I took the photo handheld. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to zoom in a little bit as much as I can, essentially not too much, but pretty much there. So you can see that is genuinely a fantastic panorama with very good detail. I mean, I'm genuinely happy, really. So you can leave it as it is, or you can of course play with, white balance if you are not happy about the white balance, or you can turn it to black and white and play with your slider with each color channel. Let's do that. I'm gonna go a little bit there, try to bring down the sky a little bit. Then the floor looks a bit dark, so I'm going to step up the game a little bit on that direction, get some depth. There you go. What else I can do? This is all trial and error. I mean, there's no definitive answer right now. I don't have any problem with the black and white version either, right? So you can stop there. So this is it. So that's how you do panorama. Again, you can stop the video right now here and then try it on your own. But I'm going to show you the imperfection of Affinity Photo when it comes to stitching panorama. What I mean by that, there are moments that it doesn't work. Let me show you again what I mean by that. I'll go to panorama, add, and I have these pretty straightforward basic four shots that I've taken in Lisbon, and this is like the bridge of Lisbon with the statue of Vasco da Gama. So I do the stitch panorama, and at first I thought that I should not have any problem because there are not much element. It's like pretty plain, straightforward, and algorithm of the software shouldn't have any problem with stitching them, but it did have problem. So I'm gonna, there you go. So that's the stitching that happening right now. We're gonna wait. So stitching is done. So let's do our usual cropping. I'm gonna show you the problem right after that. So do my crop in left, right, all done. Click enter. So we're going to zoom in now and then show you that if I stitch everything properly or no. So I'm gonna zoom in as much as I can and go from left to right. So left we have that part. We're going from left to right, right to left. What I'm talking about? I shouldn't drive. So going now. So far so good. Everything looks perfect so far. Now here you go. Do you see the problem? I'll show you now. There. I'm gonna zoom in a bit more and then show you exactly. You see, it did not do a job in that particular area. And what I try to do, I try to, fix that by double clicking the area, and you can brush it off the hollow, and it's supposed to give me a good result just by doing so. So we're gonna do that. Just be patient. I'm gonna finish it off. It's like all trial and error. Unfortunately, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I click apply, and let's see the result. It should render the panorama. You see, it just keep going, moving forward on that side again. Like you have a problem there. You see, my question is, I understand that not all the softwares are perfect. However, in this photograph, I don't even have much of an element. It's just plain basic panorama I shot from left to right and without much of an element. Even the birds, they're all in this side, and then everything else was like plain. But I had problem there. Where in this photograph, I'm gonna take off the black and white part. I'm gonna zoom in again, and if you can look, there are many elements to stitch, but I had zero problem here. I have trees, grasses, house, clouds, all, mountains, ocean, everything, but zero problem. So the Affinity photo, it's brilliant. I mean, it does work 90% of the time, but there are moments it does not give you the result that you desire. I recommend you to try this software. It's brilliant. I highly recommend it. But there are also free software that exist in the market, starting with Microsoft Ice. Brilliant software. I have used it many, many times. I uninstalled it because my laptop is filling up with gazillion softwares that I use like once in a moment. So I try to get rid of it. There's another thing to remember while taking a HDR, which is you better have a very calm environment, because fortunately at that very moment I did not have any wind. Everything was static. Clouds were not moving, like really static. Even the waters were calm. And the step number 2 is to make sure that you use tripod. Step number 3, you make sure that your apertures are around 5.6 to even bigger, let's say 8 or 16 even, depends on the time of the day. Feel free to pump up the ISO up, and then you can do stacking and then stitch your HDR. It takes a bit longer, but it works perfectly. If you follow those rules, you should not have any problem, and your software should give you the result on its own. You can take the photograph handheld, of course, but you have to get lucky. Anyway, so this is it. This is how you do panorama in Affinity Photo. I hope this video has been very helpful, and I'll see you in future videos. Have a wonderful day. And if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and if you like this photograph, also feel free to ask me to send you this photograph. This is all yours.